Hey guys, Manga here with a video on me inking, some kind of big panel impact kind of scene. That's usually an action scene. Now, before I go into that, I just want to let people know, if you don't know already, that Apple Black Volume 1 is available for sale, and I'll leave links below for those who are interested in purchasing it. I'll have a video in the future, in the very near future, going a little more detail, a little more in depth about the book, and all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into the book, and things about the book, and stuff like that. And for the people who have already purchased the book, I'd like to thank every one of you. It was I feel the fact that people would buy my book, spend your hard-earned money to pay for my book, it's very refreshing, and I appreciate every single one of you who has supported me in any way, even if you haven't bought the book, and you share, and maybe you try to get some people to review the book and stuff like that. I just like to thank everybody who supported the book and everybody who's purchased the book till now. But that's not what this video is about. I'll get into all that stuff later. For now, I'm going into inking, kind of like an impact scene, and it's where it's kind of like you see the book, and when you look at the two pages together, like the whole spread, and as you read, because the book is read left to right for those who don't know, as you read, it's almost like building tension in the previous pages, and you have this big panel in the next page. It's kind of detailed, and you want it to be detailed. You want to catch the viewer's eye, and it has to be special, big, and eye-catching. And I just want to go show you guys me inking this, and that will be next. Okay, things to know is I have already penciled this panel, and it is, I'm just gonna go about inking it now. For the most part, scenes like these are they don't always have to be fight scenes or scenes of impact, where this not, well, in this actual shot, it's not necessarily a fight scene, but it's a action panel, I guess. But it's also a reveal. So in the previous pages, there was a build to this. It's almost like building the intensity, and once you make the reader, flip the page, like once you build the intensity to the the last panel of that whole spread, from the left page to the right page, to the page on the left to the page on the right, to the last panel, you've built the intensity. You always want to make them want to flip the page and see what's on the other side. And in this case, it's kind of like a reveal, something that's supposed to grab the reader and shock them in a sense, and keep them attached. So I always like to have when I do things like this, I like to make sure the panel is clear, big, and very detailed, and gives the reader a true, clear sense of what's going on, and make sure it looks cool. I like it to feel very dynamic, and basically that's what I tend to do for reveal scenes. Now it just happens that this page is actually like an action kind of panel, so there is a sense of motion that I like to keep alive, and sense of impact and all that, and I'll get into that in a second. For the what you're seeing now is just me paneling. When it comes to the places that I have to shade, I make sure I shade in the direction of motion. So where in this case, the character is kind of like falling down and hitting the ground, so there's a sense of impact on the ground. You can see the dust going into its own direction, and you can see the particles and almost like debris floating around. Some bigger than others, to suggest that some are closer to your eye, some are far away, some are just literally bigger than others, to suggest hitting the ground, the impact is so strong that it's kind of breaking the floor in a way. I also like to have speed lines. I'll show that in a second. For the hair, maybe the hair is fully black. I don't have it fully black to really give that sense of motion. I have the strokes, again, in the direction of motion. Same with the particles. The particles are not going in the same direction of motion as the body that's that's hitting the ground is going into its own direction, almost like spreading out in this circular motion, as you can see, as you will see in a second. I also like to have speed sound effects. Those are, it also kind of, in this case I have exclamation marks. You generally, like Japanese have Japanese sound effects, American comics have like the English sound effects. I like to use exclamation marks and allow the reader kind of use your imagination, and the size of the exclamation mark is just kind of to give an idea of how loud it is. Sometimes I might not even put a sound effect, but most times I like to put a sound effects, especially just exclamation marks. Once in a while I'll put some English sound effects, once in a while, but not all the time. I like how it looks, and yeah, there's a sense, not everything in the sense of motion. It takes a while for you to truly get a hang of it. Some things are faster than others, so while you want to do the strokes of motion for some of the things, some other things you might just want to have them dance around. Like the characters that I'm inking right now, his hair is just kind of just flowing around, because slower than the character that's hitting the ground, so you don't want to show too much emphasis of motion there versus other places that are moving faster. So the faster the item or character or whatever, the more, at least in my style, in most manga styles, the more strokes are added to that item or character. In this case, even though she's the one moving around, she's not completely in some kind of stroke to emphasize on the movement, because she's actually hitting the ground. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So it's almost like, yeah, she's moving, but she's hitting the ground, right? And that, the dust on the ground also suggests that. And parts of her body are moving, and she's really hit, and it's almost like free fall. So her whole body is moving in almost different motions at the same time. But for the most part, the upper part of her body, hitting the ground, bouncing back up, and stuff like that. So there's a stroke there. The dust is moving in its own direction. There's a stroke there to emphasize that. Have the particles flowing around. Add the speed lines. I think in this case I added the speed lines in Manga Studio. We have her fan flying around, flying off the shot, and it's going to be big. I had for line variations, I make the lines thicker, just to suggest that it's coming at you, and it's because it's closer to your eye, it's going to be bigger than everything else. So I try to do that with the strokes to make sure there's a line variation and it separates the lines from one another, and makes when you have good line variation, it makes it easier for the eye to figure out what's going on, rather than having everything inked with the same kind of thickness in lines. So for the most part, that's really it. All it is having an impactful scene, impactful shot, and making it clear. It should clearly have a message. Maybe it's revealing something, whether it's cool or it's a twist or whatever it is. And yeah, the rest was toned in Manga Studio, and I have videos on toning in Manga Studio, and I will have more in the future. So that's it for now, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys at least took something away. Don't forget to watch the trailer that I put out for the book. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It seemed to do pretty well. Yeah, that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for the next one. This is White Manga, and I'm out.